Hi guys. I miss you dearly, and um, I'm not too happy about the fact that you have to try to wrestle through this free will unit on your own. So I really wanted to put out a video and just kind of tell you where I'm coming from with this and what my position is. And I want you to know that you can ask questions of me, you can email me, you can text me. I really want you to wrestle through this, and I wish that we were doing this in person because it's a challenging unit, and I want you to think through all of the implications of what all this could mean. So I'm just going to lay out my position and my argument for this, my rationale for this, and I want you to take it for what it's worth. I'm a nerd. I've been thinking about these questions for a long time. I've been studying this intensely for as much as my brain will allow. I've seen the videos that I shared with you, and I like them. There's stuff in there that I agree with and stuff in there that I don't agree with. I think Hank did a good job of laying out the basic traditional philosophical rationale. I think the guy, from what I've learned, that other YouTube channel, I think he did an even better job of explaining the ways in which our physiological states affect our decision making. And I think he does a good job laying out the fact that that our will is not as free as we like to think it is. So here's my position. My position is we don't have free will. That's my position. And I know that some of your teachers are going to argue with you, that not everybody agrees with this, but I also want to just challenge that and say not everybody thinks about this. Not everybody reads anything about this. They just think that they have free will and then run with it, and they'll argue and argue and argue. But the more you drill down and the more you ponder this, the harder it is to have the position that we do have free will. Here's my rationale. It's not that we can't choose things in our lives. It's that we don't choose things in our lives, at least not very often. And here's what I mean by that. Most of the time, we do whatever we feel like doing. That's what we do most of the time, which isn't a choice for at least a couple reasons. One, usually us doing whatever we feel like doing is just automatic. We don't think about it at all. We don't choose to do what we feel like doing. We just feel like doing something and then do it. That's not a choice. That's not free. And here's a layer deeper than that. We don't choose how we feel. So even if we choose to follow our feelings, we didn't select our feelings. Our feelings, our emotions, the way things hit us, they're just the way things hit us. We don't select our feelings from a menu and then decide our choices based on that. So if you're following around the way you feel, even willingly, even choosing to do whatever you feel like doing, you're not choosing to feel that way in order to choose to do it. Are you tracking with me? Are you following me? Your feelings just happen to you. A step closer to having free will is doing what we want to do, because sometimes what we want to do is different than what we feel like doing. If any of you have ever tried to, be healthy, you know that your desire to have a different physical makeup, or your desire to have a different, you want to feel better, you want to live a healthier life, that desire is different than what you feel like doing sometimes, because getting up early to go to the gym is not fun. It just isn't fun. Or choosing to eat leafy green vegetables instead of French fries is not what we feel like doing most of the time. And doing what you want, even though you don't feel like it, is a choice. It is a choice. But here's the thing. Do you actually choose what you want? Do your desires come from a rational decision, or do you just want stuff? I mean, what led to you wanting to make a life change that would lead you to be more healthy, or what led you to want to be to look differently, or to feel stronger, or to be able to pick up more weight, or whatever? Take this in any direction you do. You don't choose your feelings, and you don't often choose your desires. And so following your wants instead of your feelings is more of a choice, but is it any more free than just following your feelings? I would say wanting to want something is even more of a choice. That's even more of a, a free choice, because um, it's a level higher where I feel like doing something, I want to be something, and I recognize that I don't want what's best for me, and so I want to want something even better than I actually want. I hope I'm not losing you, but see if you can follow this. When I was a high school student, I was a bad student. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to learn. I didn't want to listen to my teachers. I didn't want to spend all my time doing my homework. I wanted to make Lego guns, and I wanted to draw comic books, and I wanted to go outside and skateboard. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. But weirdly, I don't know where this came from. Even though I didn't want to be a good student, I wanted to want to be a good student. I wished I wanted to be a good student. I don't know where that desire came from, but that desire slowly started to win. When I wanted to want to be better than I was, sometimes I would make choices in line with that desire instead of this other desire. That's even more of a free choice than just doing what I feel like or doing what I want to do. To do what I wish I wanted to do is a step in the right direction. But again, where does that desire come from? If you're thinking, no, I choose all the things that I want, explain to me why you think brownies taste good. Explain to me why you like a certain kind of music other than another kind of music, and use words that don't just say, I like it, or it tastes good. Why does it taste good, and why does something else taste bad? Why does this sound good and something else sounds bad? We don't know. It's just a personal preference based on our personality, which is shaped by all sorts of things that we don't choose. Our desires, much like our thoughts, come to us, and we experience them as if somebody else is giving them to us. You don't think your thoughts, you hear your thoughts. If you were the author of your thoughts, Sam Harris says, if you were the author of your thoughts, that would require that you think them before you think them. You would have to create them before you experienced them. That doesn't make sense based on the way that we perceive life experience, at least. Now, here's the reality. Here's what I want you to try to wrap your mind around. You, every moment of every day, are being led. You're being led. And you either follow in the direction that something is pulling you, or you choose to fight it and try to go another way based on something else that's pulling you. You're being led. You follow it or you fight it on purpose or not. Good and bad have equal tugs on you. And you adding your effort in one direction or another direction is what pulls you one way or another, but you're still going in the way that something is pulling you. You're just adding your effort to this thing that's pulling you in that direction. Does that make sense? It might not, and feel free to ask, whatever questions and push back. But this exact reality of, I feel like doing this, but I want to do this, but I want to do this. I'm being pulled in these directions, and I add my effort in one of those directions and follow something that is leading me, because I don't choose my own feelings, and I don't choose my own desires, and I don't even author my own thoughts. So when I follow a train of thought, or I follow a wave as it crashes in, I'm adding my effort to that. I am choosing to go in that direction, but I'm not choosing which direction I'm being led. I'm being led in these directions, and I'm following, right? This is why we say we have a limited will, because I can choose to follow my cravings. Sure, I can choose to follow my desires. I can choose to follow the Spirit. Paul says you're either a slave to sin or you're a slave to Christ. You're either doing what your sinful human nature wants you to do, or you're doing what this new nature in Christ wants you to do, and that's your only choice. You have a limited will. You have a will. You have an ability to choose that we don't often exercise. Mostly we just operate on zombie autopilot. I do what I feel like doing, or I do what somebody told me to do, and I don't critically engage with it. I have a will that I don't exercise, but it's not a free will, because I'm choosing between things that are pulling me in one direction or another. I'm not charting my own course, no matter how much I wish I was. I'm following a way that something is leading me, and has been leading me my whole life. Now, here's where this gets a little bit practical, and this is why I love the What I've Learned video. I love that, because fighting your habits does make new ones. We've all changed our lives in little ways. We've all been a certain way, and now we're a certain other way. Now, I want you take in mind how hard this really is, though, because you can change your life slowly by great effort and still, spend all of your time trying to move in this direction and move an inch. This is what it's like to try to change your personality, right? That's something that's kind of set in stone. You can change it over a long period of time. You can move a little bit by trying really, really hard. Other stuff is easy to change. I can throw out all my clothes and buy new ones, and then all I have is options in my closet that are different than there used to be, right? Little things you can change. Big things you can change over a large amount of time with great effort, and you can change it a little bit, right? But it happens by changing anything that's actually in your power to change. So what I say, my advice to you, my position on this is, when it feels like you have a choice, then make a good choice. Because all of those stacked decisions end up becoming your character, who you are by default. And your character is your destiny. It's how you're going to end up. That's how you change your fate. I loved reading your responses to this past week's assignment, because one of my questions was, do you believe in fate? And a lot of people do. Most of you do believe in fate. There is a way that your life is going to end up if nothing changes. That's the key. What's in your power to change? And can you make good decisions when you feel like you have a decision to make? That's how you change your character, and your character determines what direction you always go on autopilot. And that is your fate. That is your destiny. This is how you will be if nothing changes. That's what I got for you now. I can add more. If I get a bunch of questions and they're all the same questions, I'll just post a video response to your questions. But ask me whatever you want, follow up. What I want you to do this week is just, a couple sentences, maybe a paragraph. Just respond to what I've said so far and ask me whatever questions you want. Tell me what you think about what I've shared, because this is a position that I've come to after a lot of reflection, and I'm still open. I hold this loosely. I don't hold it tight. I hold it loosely because I could be wrong. But everything that I've read so far says this is kind of the best way to think about it. So what do you think about the way that I think about this? That's your assignment. Cool. God bless you guys.